Hello, this is another post-recorded sermon from our Christingle. I'm doing it in the morning. We had it last night on the 23rd of December. We were up at St. Paul's Church to have a joint celebration and celebrating Christingle or kind of looking at Christingle. So I just want to give you my thoughts for the Christingle service of 2023. I'm going to hold my computer up and in post-production I'm going to see if it works. If not, hopefully some slides will come up on the screen and you'll still hear my voice. So let's just see what happens and the modern technology, hey. So here we go. The question I have for you is, what can you see on the screen? Or on the PowerPoint. I'm going to guess you're probably going to say not an awful lot. Let me click on another slide and see if that helps at all. What about now? Has it become clearer? Your answer is probably still going to be no. Let me click on again. A little bit more red has come onto the green screen. Green and the red, that's my attempt at being a little bit Christmassy with my theme. Now, I don't know if it's really worked. I think it looks a bit but there we go. Anyway, let's click on again. There we go. Hopefully, you can now see, I hope, the word Jesus. Now, I don't know how it's going to work. I'm looking at my screen, and it might be back to front for you as you're watching it. I'm not quite sure how this technology thing works, but hopefully you can see the word Jesus. There we go. And at the bottom, if you read very closely, it says, if I can read it myself, actually, it says, let me turn it around to make sure I get the right words. The Son is the image of the invisible God. There you go. A little bit of fun, but there is a really good point to that. What do I want to tell you? In our reading we had in our Christingle service, it was from Colossians chapter 1, verse 15 to 18. You can look that up if you wish. Do a Google search for it to see what it says. But it starts with this line. The Son is the image of the invisible God. When we celebrate Christmas, what are we doing? We use a word, it's only a word, it's from the Bible, and we only ever really use it at Christmas time, to be very honest. But we celebrate Emmanuel. Emmanuel means God with us. I think that's a really big statement. And I've got a question to pose. I've got a big question really to ask you all about this idea of God with us. Can you believe? Is my big question. And I've got a few statements for you to ponder, to think about at this Christmas time. Can you believe that God came to earth as a baby, vulnerable and needing human help? Can you believe this baby grew up, became a man, and as the Bible claims, healed the sick, made lame people walk, gave sight to the blind, and even raised the dead? Can you believe that God is with us on earth? Sharing with us, showing us a way to live, but more importantly, through his death and resurrection, forgiving our sins. Those, for me, are big questions to ask you. They're big questions that I had to ask myself. There was a time when I wasn't a Christian, where I decided to look at these questions. This Christmas that we celebrate, can I really say that it is Emmanuel? That I am this baby that was born, this tableau scene that we often is depicted to us. This baby is God. I love that idea of vulnerable and needing human help. God, the creator of everything, vulnerable and needing human help. And as he grew up, and as we read in the Bible, the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, of accounts of him healing the sick, making lame people walk, giving sight to the blind, and even raising dead people. That's a big ask to believe that. Is that really true? And I think probably the biggest statement of all, and the point of why God came, was that through his death and resurrection, that's rising to life again, he forgave our sins. He is an idea. He made a bridge between God and man. That's something that I decided to think about and dwell upon. And for me, it became a no-brainer. It wasn't a no-brainer to begin with, but it became one that, yes, I do believe in Emmanuel, that God came at what we now call Christmas time. God has lived and walked among us. It takes a lot to believe, but it's not impossible. And I believe, as I said, that that is true. We also ask lots of questions, don't we, about what is God like? We sometimes have a bit of an idea of God, whether he's an out there, way beyond type person, or a God of anger, God of thunder. But how do we know what God is like? Just in that little image that we had. I'll try and hold it up again. There we go. Holding it up again. If we stare at Jesus, you will begin to see. So just like that image, you could begin to see, I can see it says the word Jesus. If you hadn't seen it, go back, pause it until you actually see it. Concentrate on the green parts and you'll see it. I'm sure you've already got it anyway. But yeah, if you stare at Jesus, you will begin to see. It will become clear. And you too will see the invisible God. What is God like? Take any of those, as I mentioned, the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke or John. Take the time at some point to read through it. You can have one of the Bibles. If you Google it and you can click on read, you can have David Suchet read the Bible to you. He can read the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke or John to you. When you begin to get to know this Jesus, you begin to get to know what God is like. You will see the invisible God. This Christmas time, through all the turkey, the trimmings, the presents, the family gatherings, the visitor down the chimney, the effects of sprouts. And as I said last night in the Christingle service, that when you got guests and those effects of sprouts are coming on, of how bloated you become, it's because obviously we're always polite. But of all of whatever you do or have done at Christmas time, let's not stop short of celebrating Christmas. What I mean by that is, yes, do all those traditional things that you normally do, whether it's a Boxing Day walk or a competition of who could eat as many sprouts as possible. Thankfully, that's not a tradition in our house. Very pleased about that. And whatever it is that you do, let's not stop short. My prayer for us all is that as that image, as it was on the screen, becomes clear, as Jesus will become clear to us all and reveal the true God to us all. That's my prayer. A God who loves you and is wanting. Actually, he's asking, will you love him? That's my prayer. Will it be yours as well?